Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Voltron, Legendary Defender, Star vs. the Force of Evil, and Ruby, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And Sam Quattro.
Hey.
Today, Delaney, Sam, and I will be discussing the new episode of Steven Universe that aired tonight on the 31st, Gem Heist. We're in the midst of our already been spoiled Steven Universe bomb here at the end of January/February. Very exciting nonetheless. And, this podcast will be spoiler free. No discussion of the upcoming two episodes, just Gem Heist and the episodes before it. So you're safe if you haven't seen. And if you have seen, that's also okay. We'll get it taking a deep dive into Gem Heist. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. So as I said last night's podcast, the context is Sam and I have already seen all 5 episodes. Delaney has not. She's just seen up to and including Gem Heist, so she's spoiler-free. This podcast is spoiler-free. Comments, spoiler-free, you guys. And we'll have, of course, episodes on the Wednesday and Thursday episodes. Podcasts on the Wednesday and Thursday episodes up as well. But let's get into Gem Heist. Spoilers, of course, for this episode and before. Delaney, just saw Gem Heist. Pretty interesting episode. New gem. Holly Blue Agate. Very exciting. What are your reactions to Holly and the episode in general?
Holy crap. Well, first I was like, what is this, like, weird Princess Leia
rock thing? Okay.
Like, yeah. What? I mean, it's really cool, a new gym. Like, we haven't had a new gym in, like, a while, so it's, like, really exciting, except for Smoky Quartz, obviously. But that's a fusion. It's kind of a little bit different than like a literal new gem.
Yeah.
But I thought this episode was really interesting. I didn't really have a lot of expectations for this episode, but I think it's different than I probably could have predicted. I definitely wasn't expecting kind of this. There wasn't really like a mythology drop, but there was some interesting stuff going on. Definitely talking about Blue Diamond and like Ruby and Sapphire. Like, that's always exciting. Like, Sapphire, like, I'm just really excited about that always. Amethysts, that was really cool and super exciting also. I liked watching Steven going through like the tube and all that was like funny and neat. And then we're kind of in this weird paradise. So yeah, I think this kind of I was talking about primitive humanity kind of before, like they probably think them primitives. It was 5,000 years ago when they like kind of found the zoo. So I think we're going to see that kind of reflected in the zoo. Like it's kind of going to be like a little Jurassic going on, maybe. Like it's very jungle.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt there's animals, but who knows?
Yeah. We'll have speculation on the contents of the zoo, but.
And I'm shocked there's people, like shocked.
Yeah. We saw 2 people at the end. Very exciting.
I definitely like.
Was that your shocking voice? Shocked voice?
Yes,
yeah.
It was.
Yeah, this episode's got our first new like non-fusion gem, I think, in who knows how long. Right? I guess since Bismuth, right? But Holly Blue Agate, very exciting. We see 2 amethysts, right? And we see the inside of a gem structure.
We see 4 amethysts.
We see 4 amethysts. Are the 2 at the end the same as the first 2? I don't remember.
I think they're different.
Okay,
One of them, like.
I thought that they were the first 2, but I don't know. It's possible.
Well, the one of them's like really darker than the other one, so I thought they were different, but I could have just be wrong. It's fine.
Just this is like we were talking about last night's podcast. This is kind of this is gems. This is all Homeworld sub. Like this is a gem originating thing floating in space, and we were in the inside of it, and that's very exciting.
Homeworld
too.
Junior.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just like a big ship, but. You know, it's still I feel like that's not even the.
We're like on the Death Star.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's just stationary Death Star, and it can't do anything now. Anyway, yeah, good episode. Yep, thumbs up.
Definitely.
Yeah, Sam. What? Sam and I, of course, have seen episodes, less reactions. But what are your thoughts on Gem Heist, Sam?
It was great. I wouldn't say that there was a lot of heisting going on.
Yeah, why is it called this? That's my question.
I don't
Attempted
know.
heist.
Yeah.
Like, what are they trying? They're not really trying to steal.
I guess they're stealing Greg, right? Like, I guess.
Yeah, but Greg's not a gem. I don't know.
Well, Steven got stolen.
Steven gem. Maybe they stole Steven. Okay. Anyway, Sam, what do you think?
I liked it. I liked the amethyst, the amethyst. I don't know how to amethyst.
Amethyst.
I don't know. I like the amethyst. Ruby and Sapphire, super cute. Pearl being like, "Rrr, rrr, 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 rrr." Like, you know how she gets whenever people tell her what to do.
You know how she gets, yeah.
Yeah, so I liked it. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. I think originally I didn't appreciate this episode enough. I think this episode's really good, actually. I think the best comparison for this episode is Back to the Barn and Too Far, in that it has its subtle form of dialogue-driven storytelling with gems, narrative building, world building, with like a gem that doesn't like we're interacting with someone who knows homeworld culture, and we get information on how pearls work, how sapphires are kind of high
clarity.
Yeah, stuff like that. And it's all very this is my favorite form of world building in Steven Universe, and I think it's done really well here. I think there's less new information than usual, but there's still some very interesting stuff. I think Holly Blue, I guess she's, I don't know if Holly's part of the gem name. Like, we're gonna call her Holly because she actually has a real name, and she's really good. I really like her. I think this character is really good, and her reactions to everything is wonderful. She's like very naive, and I guess what the right word is.
Very terrifyingly delightful.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's good.
She's almost like, she's not quite Umbridge level, but like it's kind of like that.
She's like a nice Umbridge. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Obviously obviously all the homeworld gems are going to be, when we meet them, are going to be like problematic, but I think I like her,
No, I think she's definitely, like, I like how she interacts with Sapphire. I mean, obviously it's because Sapphire is like a much higher rank than she is, which again is really interesting.
Yeah.
Also, like, Sapphire, like, I just feel like Sapphire doesn't talk a lot, which she doesn't, and like I just really like Sapphire taking charge and like doing all this stuff in this episode.
She's my fave. I like her.
She's so great.
Yeah.
And the wink killed me. Like, that was so good.
Sapphire's very good here. Holly Blue, their interaction is very good. Ruby's also very good.
Oh, I can't believe the tour is almost over.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights. I can tell from the inflection of your voice.
I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, that was a really good sequence.
I love Sapphire. She's the best.
What? Did you see the amethyst that did this?
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, I think this episode's very good, Gem Heist, and I think it's kind of surrounded by a hype week, and there's not more hype things going on, but I think we should over time appreciate this episode on its own. This is a Hillary and Lauren episode, and I think it's kind of a unique type of Hillary Lauren episode since kind of Too Far a while ago, so like over a year ago, and I think it's more in that vein, just kind of this dialogue-driven world building, and I really, really think they do a great job with a lot of stuff here. There's a lot happening at the end. We even have, you can get focused on like what's going to happen next episode, but I want to kind of focus in on some of the stuff that's happening here with the amethysts. I mean, that's very exciting. We see other amethysts. We see our amethyst reacting to the other amethysts. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, what am I supposed to say? I think that's really interesting. And we see Pearl. I think our biggest, other than, us being introduced to a new gem, I think our biggest mythology reveal, as we discussed last podcast, and I'm glad I didn't give this away, probably because I forgot, but, it's, they say, Holly says, your Pearl always walk next to you. So.
Classist.
Well, yes.
Racist.
But, the emphasis being the fact that Sapphire is going to win pearls. This is something a lot of people have assumed, but I feel like this is our big confirmation, and kind of drives down these discussions about it. Like this time last year, the big speculation was whose pearl is Pearl? Is it white diamonds or pink diamonds? And this episode says doesn't have to be either one. Pearl could just have been some random sapphire or some other high level gem. So I think that's a pretty big development to our mythology.
I do think we should still definitely be speculating that she's kind of like, since they won't tell us that it was kind of like a big deal.
Yeah, you'd still think that it might be one of the diamonds because they're hiding it, and they keep giving us pearls for diamonds. It's like it's got to be. They're kind of building up to it.
And
Well,
Pearl's just like, I'm kind of a big deal, you know. I'm
Yeah,
not
exactly.
gonna talk about it, but you know, I'm kind of a big deal back on Homeworld, you know.
Yeah.
I think the more important thing here is like the you know, Sapphire's her status. You know, your
Yeah.
clarity. Like she has her
Yeah.
own title, and then like she can have a pearl.
Yeah, definitely. We kind of already knew that Sapphire was a high gem, but we didn't necessarily know she was this high, right? Like it's
No, like she's like
yeah.
legit. Like I mean, and also like the blue act, like Holly, you know, being
Holly, yeah,
so.
She's like one level below Sapphire, I guess. But yeah, her being so deferential, you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a big deal, and I would say she's probably several levels below, considering how much she is like, oh my god. So
yeah, it could
I feel
be.
like
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Holly Blue, voiced by Christine Petty, who is of course a not of course as though we know her, but of course she's a theater actress. You know, typical for Steven Universe. And
Who is she?
She hosts the Sirius XM Broadway talk show.
What does she do? Give me a link to her.
Well, she's been on Broadway
Please spell
shows.
her name.
I will link it. It's kind of self-explanatory, but yeah, no, I think
Thanks,
I think she's really good in this role. Like, I think this is a great introduction to Holly Blue, and like a lot of detail given to her. I love her.
Oh, she was in Chicago.
Yeah, I love the way she like emotes and just everything surrounding Holly. I think really successful. Yes. Well, so what are the other highlights from here? I mean, Steven in the assimilation bay at the end, I think for sure. But so we see more amethysts. What was your reaction to seeing at least 2 new amethysts, Delaney?
Well, I was definitely like, I knew, you know, we talked about the amethyst and jaspers are, you know, they're kind of the same thing. They're very similar. They're meant to do the same thing. But I definitely wasn't prepared for how much like the amethysts just are purple jaspers. So that was a little like, because I hadn't really thought about it really. And and it's, it's hard to remember sometimes. You know, amethyst. She's not, quote unquote right. She's not how Homeworld wanted her to be. And, it's kind of, and to be confronted with that is interesting. It kind of reminds you, the stuff we're going through, why Amethyst feels the way she does. And, she feels so out of place, on where they are. She's not from Homeworld. She's never been to Homeworld. And, even Holly was like, oh, forgive them. They're from Earth. So like Amethyst is kind of facing a lot of, Homeworld discrimination and stuff that we don't really understand quite all of it together, and she doesn't either. Like she hasn't even left Earth before, really. So I think there's a lot going on, and I think it's really interesting, really subtle stuff with Amethyst, and we're still kind of going off of all the stuff we had with her and Jasper.
Yeah, definitely, and it's very interesting to see like them fully grown Amethyst, I guess, and her interactions with them. Hoping. And just seeing how the amethysts are like kind of treated in society, I guess, right?
Well, it's also kind of funny because clearly the other amethysts are kind of goofy, so like that makes sense. So that's kind of interesting too.
Yeah, they definitely seem kind of goofy.
Didn't Holly say that like all the the quartz and like the earth?
Yeah, that was my next thing. Was I guess I might have buried the lead, but it's a little bit unclear from this episode. I don't remember, to be honest, if it's more clear later. But Holly says that that she says the quartzes from Earth are housed and work here. I don't think she says all. She might have said all. I've written down all quartzes from Earth. Okay, so this was a big deal. This is one of the biggest, I think, mythology reveals of the week is that the zoo, and it's kind of not all these things kind of get lost in each other. This episode has a lot of stuff, but it seems like the zoo houses all the quartzes from Earth. And I talked about this on our spoiler podcast, but this is a big paradigm shift for me in terms of how I viewed kind of Homeworld. How Homeworld views Earth. To me, the show had been leading us towards this kind of view without ever explicitly stating it, that maybe Earth was one of the main colonies of Homeworld, and that, in fact, maybe all
No.
of Earth at this point was, well, clearly it's not true anymore, but I think this is a reasonable assumption based off where we're going. We got, like, there's a second kindergarten, and it's like, okay, is Homeworld ran out of resources on their planet, so now they're using Earth as their main colonization? And is this, like, a large source of where Homeworld gems of where gems in general are from now, or just all Homeworld gems just being born on Earth? And I think we talked about this on the podcast. This episode says that there's far less gems made on Homeworld than you'd think. It probably stopped after the kindergarten and the beta, and and they to stop production. And not only is it like not a large source, it's them. They all are in the same place. None of them are in Homeworld. Like they're all just at the zoo. What do you think of that, Delaney? Are you similarly shocked by this?
I'm not so similarly shocked as I think this really is really, we're kind of having revelation after revelation. And the biggest revelation is what she said to me is what she says about what Holly says about Blue Diamond. Like, oh, she's so merciful. She decided she picked up where Pink Diamond left off. And she's holding on to all these Pink Diamonds, like all of her things, basically. Like she's like, Pink Diamond's dead, I have all of her stuff. And, I think that's, Homeworld doesn't really care about Earth. Like, Yellow Diamond wants it destroyed. But if we think about so the quartzes aren't on Homeworld. Pink, it would stand to reason to assume that if Blue Diamond hadn't stepped in, they maybe would have destroyed the quartzes, wouldn't really cared where they went. Like, they wouldn't really have a purpose.
Yeah.
So, I'm not really shocked because, again, it's really hard. It's hard for me to be surprised sometimes when things happen because it's there's just so you don't really know all the time what's going on in Steven Universe, and you're like, oh, they told me this.
Yeah,
cool.
I guess this wasn't shocking, but this was a big paradigm shift for me. I remember discussing the.
I think that for me the shift is that. I say all the time, Homeworld, they are, to me, as far as, they are a world-eating race. As far as I can tell, that's what they do. They go planet to planet, they colonize, and they kind of just strip it dry. The paradigm shift for me here is that it's not, Earth, they chose Earth for a reason. They chose them to make quartzes. So then my thinking then is pearls are made on another planet, and that's what I'm thinking.
Right. I think all of what you're saying right now is speculation. I think it's reasonable. Right. I've always thought that the world eating stuff is clearly not been shown on the show. I think the best evidence for that are the diamond portraits. Right. Just even the fact that Homeworld has other colonies. I don't think we've really been told that besides the portraits with the different planets on it, which I think is you're implying. I think it's reasonable, but. I think this is proof, the biggest proof that we've seen that Earth isn't that important to Homeworld. And that's an interesting extrapolation that maybe Earth is for quartzes, and another thing on this in a sec. But what do you have to say about all this, Sam?
I was about to say, you remember the Hunger Games when all of the districts are just for one specific thing?
Yeah.
That reminds me of that. Anyway.
So you're saying Homeworld is the capital? Yeah,
basically.
Okay.
It would seem so.
Okay. Who's Snow? Yellow Diamond?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so the other notable...
Katniss.
Steven's Katniss.
Oh my God.
Of course. But yeah, I think so that's an interesting theory, Delaney, that all the planets would be for one type of production. I think that Earth being for quartzes is supported by this episode and by what we've seen so far.
We just have so many mountains and
Well, when you think about it, it's kind of... I feel like that's probably a safe assumption because not just because what they say in this episode, but when you think about they only had 2 kindergartens on Earth that we know of. And I think it's we're pretty confirmed there's 2 kindergartens only. And Earth's a big place and they only have 2 kindergartens to make gyms.
Yeah, we've seen 2, but it's right. And so I agree Earth is 4 quartzes is definitely a reasonable assumption in this episode. I think the extrapolation is that other planets for other things.
Right, yeah.
And I still are other gems made on Homeworld. I still think that's something that we don't really yes or no. Because they always talk about Homeworld gems, but those could just be gems that live on Homeworld.
Right.
Yeah.
Granted, but we also have here this they're from Earth, so I think that would stand to reason that there are gems who come from Homeworld.
Yeah,
I think
that doesn't necessarily go along with what you're saying with the specific type thing. I was kind of buying into that for a sec, but I'm not sure. It's very unclear.
That can still be true. Quartzes are made on Earth, and maybe pearls are made on Homeworld, but rubies are from somewhere else. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be all of them or nothing, because I think there
Yeah.
definitely are gems who have to be made on Homeworld. Like, that has to be true.
Presumably the diamonds.
Right. And so, like, and especially when Holly is like, oh, they're from Earth. If we're gonna have that kind of attitude, it would stand to reason that there have to be gems who, like, if there's kind of this hierarchy thing. So that means gems from Homeworld are better. Then gems have to come from Homeworld, and they're from Homeworld only.
Yeah, I also got that impression before. It's still unclear what Homeworld gems means to me, but we've definitely gotten that impression from the show of Homeworld gem superiority versus Earth gem and stuff like that.
Wait,
Sam, yes.
Before we move on,
Yes.
I would just want to like put this out there. If there is a planet that they make specifically pearls, is it an ocean planet? And do they just have oysters, like big old oysters, where they get all these pearls from? Because that's where pearls come from. And are we gonna have like a Birth of Venus sort of situation where there's like an artistic motif of like all these pearls just like popping forth from the clams, oysters? Anyway,
yes, I think this demands fan art, Sam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Well,
like
I'm not the one to draw that.
You could.
No.
Anyway, so the thing I was gonna say is that so we specifically say quartzes in this episode. All quartzes are from Earth are housed here, right? So
Amethyst, jaspers,
and roses.
Rose quartz.
Yeah, right. So what do you think about that, Delaney?
Are we going to encounter another rose quartz? I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
Like, who knows?
Will we see things beyond amethyst? I think that's a big question from here, right?
I think so. I think we should probably get ready. I would probably predict yes.
Okay.
I wonder what different kinds of quartzes there are.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe we'll just run into something we have no idea. We're like, okay, that's new.
Yeah, maybe there's a fourth kind of quartz. Yeah, so we'll speculate.
No, I mean like IRL, like.
Oh, IRL.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of quartzes.
It's the second most abundant mineral in the Earth's continental crust. That's why they're all made on Earth.
I think this is further, thinking about this. Geology. Okay, not geology, but I think this is further kind of... So there's a big shock when we learn Rose is from Earth. This is kind of a furthering of lessening her status in our mind, because not only is Rose from Earth, if she didn't, start her band, she'd be housed in the zoo. And maybe it's just that all of the Earth gems have been degraded because of Rose's actions. But it's to me, this episode seems to say Rose wouldn't have been that high up on the hierarchy, although maybe Pink Diamond's hierarchy is different.
No, I think we have to consider the possibility that, everyone I think's been thinking, this is Rose Quartz, a trusted advisor or something killed Pink Diamond. We have to consider, which I think this actually makes a lot more sense given the outrage, is that a lowly Rose Quartz killed a diamond.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, it's and especially because she's a quartz, and I mean, then again, Jasper seems pretty high up, but we might have had an inflated opinion of Jasper too. It seems
that's the thing. It's really hard, it's really hard to remember that gems don't really just exist singularly. Like we have to remember that there's more than one gem, basically always. And I don't think anyone's really I certainly haven't considered. I'm sure there's discourse and discussion that there have to be other Rose Quartzes. Is Steven gonna be run into a Rose Quartz and be like, "Oh my God, Mom," and be like, "Who are you?"
Mom.
So that would be awful.
No, it's Mystery Girl. No, it's Mom.
Yeah, Mystery Girl. But
is Mystery Girl a Rose Quartz?
Start your speculation.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yes. It's just, I think it's hard. It's hard to remember when we only see one. We saw one Jasper. It's hard to remember there are other Jaspers.
Right.
Or there's other paradots.
Yeah, because we always thought Jasper just is like right-hand man's Yellow Diamond or Pink Diamond, right? Because we originally thought Yellow Diamond, but no, it's Pink Diamond. But no, Jasper's maybe not even that important. It was just in the context of Peridot. It's kind of crazy. Definitely a lot of. I want to have Delaney speculate on some of this stuff after, now that we have stuff to predict. But let's go through the other stuff in the episode, other than the big things that we've talked about. We have, just kind of burying again that we're in this human zoo gem structure. There's not a lot there. Like we said, works like ships. We have Steven calling himself Esteban Universidad, and he calls himself Esteban.
It's quality.
Multiple times throughout the episode, yeah. Ruby and Sapphire.
We got to Esteban this.
We got Esteban this, he says, yeah. Play the roles we're made for.
Ow, that hurt me.
Yeah, it's sad. Sapphire being sad.
In the heart.
Holly's gem back of her head, by the way. I'm not one to make big deals over gem placement, but is this a big deal? I don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's notable. Nothing for millennia, and then 2 humans back to back, says Holly.
Wow.
Like, this isn't suspicious.
Nothing for millennia. So yeah, no, I mean, obviously no human deliveries. So that's interesting how it's going to play out inside the zoo. Just Miss Blue Diamond. The Deference Sapphire, the tour. Newtile houses all chords. We talked about a lot of stuff. Pink Diamond, Blue Diamond and her agate are maintaining. So it seems like, are there multiple agates, I guess? She seems like her agate, she said. So, I don't know if that's just like a making herself like sound more than she is, or if there's really only one of her, Holly.
I doubt that. Though, I mean, there are rare gems. I know we are often hesitant to rely, actual gemstones, but the show kind of is accurate sometimes, well, really for the most part. But, I mean, there are rare gems, so, I mean, there could be, like, singular gems. This contradicts everything I just said earlier. But the gems we have seen so far have been, they're stated in, like, when they are presented, they're obvious, they're multiples. Like, we know there are other Jaspers. It's just hard to remember sometimes. But I think there can be rare gems. Like, there could be, like, singular gems, but there's even multiples of the diamonds, so it's kind of doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there's at least the diamonds there's only 4 of, so that we know of.
Right.
So Holly definitely presents herself as kind of one of a kind, but who knows. Something we didn't talk about is the perception of Blue Diamond. Holly says Blue Diamond's merciful and forgiving nature, giving nature, and then later Ruby says she got upset at her saying that she's a shatterer. She yelled at Sapphire, hates fusion and love. So I feel like the first one is bad, and then these other ones, you yelled at Sapphire. I mean, like, okay, that's bad, but that's not that serious. Hates fusion. I mean, yeah, but so do all of them. But so she's a shatterer, though. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, like, has she shattered, like, her own lieutenants? Like, if people don't do what they want, that she wants, like, I mean, I wonder if that's part of the fear that Ruby and Sapphire have of encountering her again, is that she would shatter them.
Yeah. Sam, thoughts on this perception?
Well, the perception is, likely pre and, during the war, and, people change. Gems change, I guess. You can cut a gem in certain ways and it can change. Perhaps now Blue Diamond, I don't know, feels bad about shattering other gems, considering that her sister, girlfriend, friend, whoever, Pink Diamond, has been shattered herself. So now she can empathize. And now she can be like, oh, what I did in the past was wrong. And, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm not just like a high and mighty political figure anymore. I am brought back to my humanity, and I see the consequences for my actions. Right. So people can change. The end.
This is a good theory on like reconciling these two perceptions that I have of Blue Diamond. Maybe she's changed in 5,000 years. That's one. So I think it's interesting that Ruby is the one that espouses these views of Blue Diamond, because Ruby, I don't think, should be a reliable source, because I don't think Ruby would really have ever, and not because she's just kind of absurd, but also because Ruby in the answer was new. I think, right? I'm not sure if that's true. So I think she was like, I don't know when our Ruby would have interacted with Blue Diamond. I think everything she's saying here is probably secondhand from Sapphire. So I think these are Sapphire's perceptions.
Well, a shatterer is like, I don't know. I think that would be like a public...
Based on what we saw, yeah, maybe it was a public perception, but based on what we saw in the answer, Ruby wouldn't have seen anything like that. But maybe I'm misremembering. But
yell at Sapphire, duh. Hates fusion, duh. Love is tied into the fusion things, or duh.
The shatter is the tough one. So I think it's interesting because Sapphire would be like potentially directly below Blue Diamond, and if Sapphire thinks that Blue Diamond was bad in a shatter, then that's pretty damning. I think, especially because our Sapphire is so just seemingly a reliable narrator, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we need to reconcile these perceptions. It's definitely hard to view Blue Diamond that way, given what we saw for her in Steven's dream. For me, I don't know.
Well,
Some
also
people
we have to.
have more complex cuts than others.
Well, we have to consider, like, if I still think, like, I think we're heading towards a war with Homeworld. Like, we are at war with Homeworld still, kind of. But I think, like, I mean, I always think we're going to Homeworld. That's just how I've always been. But like, it would help if we had a diamond on, like, their side. It's, it's hard to imagine them, being victorious or kind of getting to any sort of helpful end with Homeworld if they didn't have a diamond on their side.
Right. So, like, the 6 or whatever crystal gems aren't, going to beat Homeworld. But the crystal gems taking on the side of a diamond civil war, right? That's more interesting.
Ooh.
Right. So.
Ooh.
I like how the oohs are being accentuated by Sam's bad internet.
Right, it's great.
Yeah. So Blue Diamond potentially like going against Yellow Diamond or something like that. That's kind of interesting. So we can speculate on that later. But
well, it's like, I think there's a lot of merit to what Sam said about, in 5,000 years, and like, as far as we know, Sapphire and Ruby have not interacted with Blue Diamond since Pink Diamond was shattered. That could have broke, like, kind of.
Right. So they wouldn't know that Blue Diamond would have changed. Yeah, I agree. So it's interesting. We can
also, why go to all the trouble with yelling about her and this kind of these two images of her. We actually see Blue Diamond first, and then we have this. Like, I think it's very clear we're going to this kind of Ruby and Sapphire struggling to kind of
reconcile their past perceptions with something current. Yeah, I think this is also just a necessary characterization, given that Blue Diamond was presented so sympathetically on 2 episodes ago, showing like we need to, like, this is something that clearly needs to be stated because the viewer's thinking like diamonds are mean, right? So this is something that needs.
Well, this is what happened. This is what happened with Rose Quartz. Like, this, like, we do this a lot. So. There's always these, like, the crystal gems often have very different, either they're really bad perceptions or they're almost deified perceptions of, kind of various gems, kind of like, what Steven knows about bismuth versus what the crystal gems thought they knew about bismuth.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we play with this a lot, and it really doesn't get boring. Like, they do it really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's still interesting. Other random things in the episode, we get everything about Pearl opening the doors. You have the Holly
Hacker Pearl.
Yeah, Hacker Pearl. That was one of my faves. Like, but Pearl, you're our hacker, says Steven, which is like, okay, Steven knows what a hacker is. Like, okay.
He's 14.
I need the meme, I'm in, the hacker meme, to be replaced with Pearl. Like, it needs to be done. I need to see it.
Yeah. Why is Steve? Well, he's 14. Why does he need to know that? That's hackers are bad, though, Sam. Like, Steven's so pure.
Dylan.
Steven's so...
You knew what a hacker was when you were 14.
I don't know if that's necessarily a term, but yeah, like there's also like that's a thing in their world too.
Bruh, it's been a hacker. A hacker has been a term for like years, bruh.
We got a citation needed on that one.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
Same here.
Yeah, but I thought that was great with calling Pearl the hacker. I think it's we also had the stuff with Holly, like either not understanding what Steven's saying or choosing to like ignore that Steven is saying like words that she can understand. It's like, it's hilarious noises, right? What was your perception of that, Delaney?
Well, at first I was like, oh, she just doesn't care what he says. I actually think she doesn't understand what he's saying. Like, she literally doesn't know. Like, she hasn't interacted with humans at all and has no concept of what's going on.
So do you think she's like just not capable of understanding them and like sociology standpoint, or do you think she just can't hear his words like correctly?
No, I think it's from like a sociology standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause, I mean, for example, like Blue Diamond spoke to Greg.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it makes much sense if she wouldn't understand like English, right? I don't think that works. But yeah,
I think it's more of like she's just like, oh.
It just is like no concept of what Steven might be saying, or like, yeah. So her mind like filters it as noise or whatever. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
The distraction, we talked about that, and the so glad we're
Explosion.
back. Yes, I can tell from the tone of your voice. That was great. When Blue Diamond's on her way, I love how Holly's face is like I described it as capital D, the emoticon.
Yes.
Right? It's so good. I really like her enthusiasm there. And then Steven in the and then she says Blue Diamond want to thank Sapphire personally. We'll see how that goes.
Sapphire's like sweating.
Yeah. Steven in the assimilation bay with the kind of peridot fingers from her old whatever, right? And then gives Steven change of clothes, the earrings, and we see Greg in the two humans. So the Delaney, what's happening next? That's the big question. What are we doing in this enclosure, presumably, what this is?
Okay. So we have to think, so there's like two options here with, it's been 5,000 years, and
how are there humans still there?
Yeah, okay, there's two options. One of the options is they've been reproducing. My thought though is that they wouldn't I don't think they'd still look like humans because of evolution and things, but whatever. Or they would seem different. Like, I think they would be noticeable.
It's only been 5,000 years.
But we have to think it's 5,000 years, kind of in this weird climate going on, and it's all like I feel like it'd be noticeably different, but maybe not. But in well, okay, I guess that's fair. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look some stuff up. But
yeah, it depends. But what do you think? What
I think is true is that they're kind of in stasis, like they don't age.
Interesting.
So I think that's what's actually going on.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Like, based on the technology the gems have, they have gravity engines. I feel like they could create this quite easily.
Gems have make humans immortal technology? That'd be crazy.
Well, it's maybe not necessarily like this specific. I think it has more to do with like what they're in. Like, they're in this. They have a simulated climate.
Yeah. And
I think they're in stasis of some form.
Okay, interesting.
I will retract my 5,000 year thing because I think that's just I'm just dumb. It's fine.
No, I mean I think evolution on Earth could occur in 5,000 years for sure. But it's some like small form. But it like if okay, this is a stupid science talk, but like humans, us currently, we're not going to necessarily evolve like at all in 5,000 years because we're like created our own circumstances. So if they're like taken out of like nature, then I don't think they might not change. Anyway, okay, what about Blue Diamond? What's happening at Blue Diamond and wanting to thank Sapphire personally?
I think maybe. Okay, I think I'm in the camp that Blue Diamond is good and she has changed and she wants to apologize to Sapphire and Ruby, maybe, and wants to talk to her.
That'd be interesting. Is
Blue Diamond becoming so smug?
Is Blue Diamond becoming? I mean, I don't know. You're bringing up kind of interesting things, regardless of what happens. I think Blue Diamond is Blue Diamond become a crystal gem? Is that what's
oh my
happen?
God!
Okay, let's be real. Like, that's kind of what the show does. Like, I don't actually think
it does. It does.
Like, it's not.
Where
ridiculous.
would she live?
In the Rose Room.
Duh.
Yeah, because it's infinite or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
All the
I guess.
Infinite, so like,
I think that would make her too sad.
Too sad.
Yeah.
Too much pink.
Yeah.
Problem to the barn.
Are we rescuing Greg? Specific predictions on that?
Okay. I think Greg might be having a good time. Maybe. And then I don't think it's just like Greg doesn't want to leave. Greg might be a little brainwashed, perhaps.
Yeah, that'd be the typical move here, right? Would be brainwashing. Yeah.
I think we are rescuing Greg, but I don't think it's going to happen in the next episode because I think it's going to take them a while to get out.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 more this week, so.
Yeah, I feel like we're going. So, what are my predictions for the next episode? They're kind of exploring this new climate. It's really just going to be a lot of Steven talking to Greg, and then a little bit Sapphire, Ruby, Pearl, Amethyst, and Blue Diamond. Okay. And then they'll get him out and they'll make it back to Earth. Maybe.
Okay, so we'll have the episode 5.
Or if everything goes sideways, they get sent to Homeworld.
Yeah, well, that'd be big, right? Are we going back to Earth? Are we going to Homeworld? Are they going to get captured? Like, that's a big question.
Are we going to be stuck on the station? Which, y'all were like, the cereal planet, it looks like a sword.
The cereal planet? It looks like, the station? Interesting.
It looks like a sword.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, we will see with all of that, and we'll have speculation for the last episode. That'll be interesting too. So overall, Gem Heist, thumbs up.
Yes. 2 thumbs
Yes.
up. I really liked it.
Yeah. Any other things from the episode you want to talk about, Sam?
Not really.
No, I think.
I mean, I liked it. Okay, we didn't mention this little moment just when Ruby was like fighting the door and then she just gave up. Like 2 seconds later.
Yeah, relate.
She's cute anyway.
Yeah.
Her fire feet cracked me up.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, let us know what you thought in the comments. Keep them spoiler free on YouTube or the website, overlyanimated.com. Consider supporting us on patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Beatrice, aka Beatrix Exchange. Thank you very much, Beatrice, and all of our patrons supporting us. And
Beatrice, woo!
yeah, and
Yay!
yeah, so
There you go. There's some claps.
we will be back tomorrow to discuss The Zoo,
Ooh.
which, pretty self-explanatory.
Wasn't
the title.
what's this? Mark Wahlberg? He was in a movie
Called The
where
Zoo.
he bought a zoo.
That wasn't Mark. I
It's
don't think
literally.
Was that Mark Wahlberg?
I think it was Mark
I don't even
Wahlberg.
remember if that was Heist.
I don't know. I've never seen this.
I
movie,
know.
but
I saw We Bought a Zoo. Yeah,
I know
it's fine.
somebody bought a
It's
zoo and something happened. I guess I don't know.
Was it Mark? I honestly can't even remember the lead actor.
Good job at derailing. The
I'm pretty sure it
conversation.
is. I can Google it though.
No, it was Matt Damon. Okay.
Yeah, it's
No,
Matt
it
Damon.
wasn't
Okay.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I thought
It
I
was.
think it was Mark.
It's Matt
Wahlberg.
Damon.
Yeah,
It's
I
Matt
only know
Damon. I'm
Scarlett
looking at
Johansson
it.
and Elle Fanning are in that. Yeah,
I've seen that movie like a bajillion times, and I still wasn't
Why
sure.
have you seen that movie a bajillion times? It's fine.
Because
but-
it's one of those things my dad likes to watch, so we just watch it. Like,
I
if
mean,
it's
I
on,
like
watch
the
it.
movie, but it's like kind of like, anyway. Okay.
What did they do at the zoo?
Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the movie We Bought a Zoo. But I don't even remember what they
let
did
us
with
know
this
if
one. Yeah.
you bought a zoo at some point and what
Yeah.
you would do with it.
Yeah.
I would shut it down and let the animals go free because zoos are evil.
I don't think. Okay, we can discuss the ethics of zoos next podcast. And thanks for listening, and we will see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.